Hey everybody, Tony D and little Joan here. Uh kind of got some news that might be hard to take, Trump supporters. Although it does explain a little bit of something. Records Lin Wood has for decades voted for, donated to Democrats, including Barack Obama and David Perdue's 2014 opponent. Now, this doesn't necessarily make Lin Wood a mole or whatever you call it, a cutout. Although I was kind of shocked when he called for martial law. Um, it's very possible that Lin Wood, like a lot of Democrats, said, "I'm done with the Democratic Party and I'm switching sides." But let's check out this Breitbart article. Thanks to Ian Miles Chung for linking it. Georgia based attorney Lin Wood is getting lots of attention for urging supporters of President Donald Trump to break with the president and not vote for GOP Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler in the upcoming January 5th runoff elections. Wood's public comments ran counter to President Trump's own public statements and wishes as president, has repeatedly urged his supporters to support Loeffler and Perdue, and is heading to Valdosta, Georgia on Saturday to rally with GOP senators. Wood's comments are also in line with top national Democrats who are pushing for, as Breitbart News reported, a national anti-Trump Democratic super PAC called Really American PAC. It's running billboards carrying a message clearly identical to what Wood is saying. While Wood made his comment purportedly as a self-described supporter of Trump while donning a red "Make America Great Again" ball cap, the real story here is Wood is by no means a Republican, and there is no record in Georgia of him ever voting for President Trump in 2016 or in 2020 in the Republican primaries. While Wood did vote in the 2020 and 2016 general elections in Georgia, there are no records in Georgia of him pulling a GOP primary ballot in 2016 or 2020, the 2 years President Trump was on the ticket. Ironically, in both 2020 and 2016 general elections, state records show that Wood voted absentee by mail in Georgia, part of the same system he is now railing against. In addition to Trump himself, VP Mike Pence is making a second trip to Georgia later in the week to campaign for Loeffler and Perdue, and the president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., has been vocal in his support for them as well. That's what's so interesting about these people claiming to support the president's interests, telling Georgians not to back the president candidates for Senate in the runoffs. But maybe it's not so complicated when looking at the voting history and political donation history of the chief instigator of this narrative, Wood. Now, I would say this, though. The Republican voters should make it clear to these two candidates that they got to support Trump or they won't vote for him. So, I think if there's no threat of you not voting for them, they won't get the message. However, the Republicans definitely need one of these guys. They definitely need one of these guys, or they're going to be relying on Mitt Romney should Trump pull off his magic trick and win the presidency. So let's not do that. I don't know too much about either of these candidates, but yeah, I mean this is a huge red flag. Has Wood had his moment? His moment where, well, I was in the Democratic Party and now I'm in the Republican Party, or now I vote for Trump, or whatever. I don't know that he has, but he does seem to be passionate about the lawsuit he's bringing up. So it seems to me that he has changed sides. He's changed sides. But, maybe not. Maybe he's a mole. I don't know. I mean, it's his 2020, man. And you see what's at stake. There's so much money at stake. There's billions of dollars at stake. I mean, imagine you have a meeting with some people and there are millions of dollars hanging in the balance if you do this for the Democrats, if you go in there and sabotage the senatorial election. Even if, there are plenty of people who play both sides of the fence. They get in there and they'll just say anything. He was pushing the MAGA hat awfully hard. It makes me a little suspicious of him. And again, I was very shocked that he called for martial law. I thought, well, that doesn't seem like a lawyer. That doesn't seem like a crusading lawyer's opinion who helped the Covington kids. That seems like a guy who, is making a bad move. So, I mean, Breitbart saying he's trying to mislead Georgians so that Democrats win the Senate. Maybe. In which case, then if that's true, you'd have to question Sidney Powell's motives as well, because there she is standing on stage with him. Are these guys just all grifting? Are they all just grifting off of Trump? Do they have no intention of seeing this through? Is this all just one big grift to make as much money as possible before the wheels come off? Maybe. And look, again, I'm not trying to demoralize anybody, but you got to ask these questions to get at the truth. Some people, they get all hyped up about things, and then when the bottom drops out, they're more upset than they should be. I don't know if it was an anime cartoon or something I read, but there was the story of the ninjas, and that the ninjas they don't celebrate victories and they don't mourn their failures. They just try to stay on an even keel. And I don't know if that's true or if it was just a cartoon, but it's good advice, to try to stay on an even keel about this. He's donated to Democrats over the years, but who knows who he really supports. Now, because Trump's very different, and he's very much an 80s Democrat, not really a classic Republican. But you've got records here. State records show that in Georgia, while Trump has been president in 2017 and 18, Wood donated thousands and thousands of dollars in Georgia to state Democrats, funding the opposition to the president in the state. He gave $2,000 to over 3 separate donations in 2018 to Ken Hodges, a Democratic judge on Georgia's appeal court, for his campaign. Back in 2010, he gave $4,200 on several donations to Hodges. It might just be his friend. He also, in June 2018, gave $2,600 to Democrat State Senator Zahara Karinchak. In 2017, Wood gave a whopping $12,600 to Georgia Democrat gubernatorial candidate Stacey Evans. Wood worked with Evans as an attorney in private practice. That was definitely his friend. Evans would go on to lose the Democratic primary for governor in 2018 to Stacey Abrams, who lost to the now GOP Governor Brian Kemp in the 2018 election. Well, I mean, you could argue that the whole reason he did that was to draw votes away from Kemp, or to put up Stacey Abrams, who wasn't a particularly strong candidate in my view, but Wood donated another $2,500 to Evans in November, $2,300 more in March 2010, $2,400 back in May of 2009, and in December another $100. This pattern from Wood, he's demonstrated his support for Georgia Democrats for decades. Yeah, yeah, but he still might like Trump. I mean, it's not good. It's not perfect, but you know, the question is he on board with Trump now? Maybe not. I mean, 2018, that was only 2 years ago, but it's possible he's seen the evidence and been so shook by it that, I mean, he's making these pretty impassioned pleas. Are they all BS? They could be. I don't know. I don't know him as a person. I didn't know him before this, so um, I guess the question would be, has he done something similar for the Democrats in the past? Like, did he make these rallying cries? And, back in, I don't know, 2010, did he do a big speech like this where he extolled the virtues of progressivism and how they had to defeat the Republicans? I don't know. Um, who knows what lurks in the hearts of men? But yeah, I mean, look, I saw the video where he mentioned that the Democrats, but he mentioned it in the context of supporting Trump. Um, and I mean, this could be all a big play, right? Like, he knows Trump's going to lose, so he takes the case, maybe even purposely, drives it into a ditch, all the while saying, yeah, the reason we're losing is those darn rhinos. Don't vote for him. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I don't think you should just blindly vote a ticket. So, if you're in Georgia, you have to make up your mind. I know my two New Jersey senators are terrible, but they're Democrats. I'd expect them to be pretty terrible. We used to have some good Democrats back in the day. Not anymore. These guys are just. I thought Cory Booker would at least be okay, but he just turned out to be awful. So you need to make up your own mind. But if they are rhinos, it's a tough call. I mean, Lindsey Graham, he's a terrible, terrible senator. He's terrible. I wouldn't have mind, as much as it would have hurt Trump, him losing the election. It's almost like he's worse than a rhino. He is, a guy who would, I think, stab you in the back in a hot minute. So worse than Romney. Romney, you can see, like, you gotta deal with him. But Lindsey Graham, he could turn on a dime, turn right against you. So, but hopefully Georgians will elect at least one of these guys. You gotta elect at least one. So I hope you'll do that, Georgians, and at least keep the Republic treading water for another 2 years until the GOP can take back the House or fix the voting or both.